Hello and welcome back to another smashing episode of Nosensical. Today we're going to talk about what happened during my absence. Now, during my absence, I dislocated my shoulder and I had to wear one of these things for like a full month. Now, how did this happen? Well, I was at home and I was working on my computer. I was working very hard. And my roommate came in the apartment. He walked straight up to me and he said, "Hey Seb, you gotta come with me right now, man, to the gym and we gotta train and get some muscles, man." For those who don't know, one of my best friends has a gym and my roommate started to go there. So I said to my roommate, "No, I cannot. I need to focus on working. No, we need to go now, man, so we can train and then we can look like Dwayne Johnson." And he was immensely persistent. He was always in my face about this. For a full 5 minutes, he would not stop. So eventually, I gave in and I decided to accompany my roommate to the gym and to train hard. And my gut was telling me, you should be working now. You should be working. You should not be going to the gym. It is a bad idea. Your gut feeling is telling you that something bad is going to happen. So we arrived at the gym of one of my best friends and he said to me, "We're going to train hard today." I was like, okay, fine. Yes, I got changed. I got into my gym clothes, whatever. And I knew I had a problem with my shoulder, because this is not the first time I've dislocated my shoulder. I've dislocated my shoulder at least 6 or 7 times now. I even had an operation which failed. And I was there, and I was looking at one training equipment, and I was like, I'm going to start with this. And my best friend, you know, he's like a really tough guy. He takes protein packs, you know, he's really into this whole muscles thing, you know, biggest fan is probably Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever, but he's like, "We're going to start on this, you know, it's something to do with your back when you do this." And I was like, "No, that's not a good idea for my shoulder, you know, I'm going to do this instead, you know, something like push-ups." And he's like, no, you're going to do that, you're going to train your back first, you always start with that." And I'm like, no, I'm going to do this first. My best friend would not stop. He was also like, "No, you must train, you must be strong, you must do this." And I was like, "No, I'm going to do this. It's much better if I do this one, because I won't injure myself." So my best friend eventually would not stop. I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it anyway, just to please him. So, you know, 10 times I did this, pulled up the weights, nothing happened. I was fine. And then I did the second time, 1, 2, 3, and then my shoulder gave into the weight, because as I said before, it was an original injury. So it gave into the weight and my arms went straight up. And there was a loud noise, the weights fell down, I could only hold the thing with one arm, and, you know, it was with 2 sides, so the thing just crashed. And everyone looked at me, and I was like, oh shit, you know, my shoulder's out of place. And my best friend comes up to me, and then my roommate came up to me, he's like, "Oh, you right, man?" I was like, "No, man, my shoulder's out of place." So in the past, I have been able to put my shoulder in before, and it's not like in the movies, like in Lethal Weapon 4, or 2 or 3, where you see Mel Gibson run straight into the wall and bang his shoulder into the wall. It does not work. I've been to the doctor, and he's even told me the story many times, where idiots come into his hospital or his clinic or whatever and say to him, "Yo, this is what I did." And he's like, why? Why would you do that? Why would you follow something that you saw in the movies? So what you do, and what doctors have done with me in the past, is that you lie on your back, you relax, you let your muscles rest, and you hold your shoulder up like this. You wait for a while, you wait for 3 minutes, you close your eyes, you even try to fall asleep if you want. And eventually your shoulder goes back in by itself. But that doesn't always work, well, so it's a risky thing to do, but generally it works for me. I've done it 2 or 3 times in the past and it's worked. So I'm on the floor trying to do this, and you have all the hyperactive muscle guys in the gym. They all run up to me and say, "Don't do it, man, don't do it." And I couldn't focus. I was lying there, I was like, "Hey, just let me, I've done this before, you know, it's alright." And they're like, no, don't do it. There's a doctor here, there's a doctor somewhere in the room. And I was like, whatever, I need some doctor who's never done this before, so I need either a specialist who's an orthopedist or whatever, but not just a regular doctor. I've more experience than he is probably. And they're like, no, don't do it, man, don't do it. So eventually I was like, oh, fuck's sake. Okay, I can't focus, I couldn't relax, you know, they were making me way too tense, so I couldn't simply just put my shoulder back in like I've done before. So eventually one of my best friends, he calls an ambulance. So I get on the ambulance, I'm there, they gave me morphine and everything, and when the door's closing, one of my friends says, "Goodbye, good luck," you know. No, he actually said, "Hey Seb, you're right-handed, right? So how are you gonna masturbate for 1 month?" Cheeky bastard. So I went to the hospital, and I was there for a full hour with my shoulder out of place. And when your shoulder's out of place, you see here it's nice and round. When your shoulder's out of place, you see your shoulder do this. It's square. You see your shoulder there. You see the big bump that sticks out. I was sitting there for an hour, and this old lady was screaming, I'm in pain, I'm in pain. And I was like, I'm also in pain, but still it hurts. But I had to sit there for an hour waiting for these doctors to come. And eventually they came, and they put my shoulder back in place. And this was after 2 o'clock in the morning, so I really had to wait a super long time just to get to the hospital, and a super long time just for the doctors to put my shoulder back in place. And thanks to this whole situation, I missed a month of work. I had to sit around with this thing on my shoulder, so my entire right arm was like this, and I could do nothing with this arm. I couldn't, like with my computer, I had to learn how to use the mouse with my left hand, which is very doable, but still. And this whole time, when these things happened, for example, when my best friend told me to do the weights on top, my gut was screaming to me, don't do it! But still, you need to listen to your instincts sometimes. When your gut feeling says it's a bad idea, it's too risky, don't do it! And you must listen to your gut. You mustn't just say to yourself, oh, screw it, it's fine. Nothing's going to happen. It will be all right. No, sometimes when your gut tells you don't do it, it's a bad idea, just don't do it. So listeners, the dislocation of my shoulder is hilarious. So listeners, have you ever suffered a major injury, and did this injury occur while your gut was telling you don't do it, and you decided to take the risk anyway? So listeners, thank you for listening. So until next time!